I've got a question about animals.
Animals!
I really like animals. They are so authentic.
So are you, if you choose to.
I believe they communicate with telepathy as well.
They do.
Could there be a way for me to relate to them more easily so I can help them? I especially want to help them when they're ill.
Okay.
I take care of a lot of animals. We are joined by some animals here, a cat and a dog.
Yes.
My animals are outside animals, farm animals.
Okay.
And you tell everyone to follow your highest excitement.
Yes.
Right now, it's my chickens.
Okay.
I really adore chickens. They're so lovely. The baby chickens are lovely. They lay the most beautiful eggs. I've got a special feed with today's blue and green eggs.
Okay.
But when you breed little chickens, sometimes they get ill. The animal doctors hardly know anything about chickens. So once in a while, I have to help them, and I'm stuck sometimes in how I could assist. I don't want them to die.
Okay, why not? This seems like a ridiculous question, but we are asking.
I'm still trying to find a way of looking at the process of dying and helping them so I can find more emotional balance. You have so many viewpoints. If you look to an animal doctor, they prescribe antibiotics, they only look at the illness. We could look at them in a completely different way. We could try to empower their resistance to overcome something.
Yes, if your intention is to be there for them, there unconditionally, lovingly for them, then there is no insistence, remember, as to what the outcome ought to be. And so the most loving thing that you can do for an animal that is severely ill, after you have tapped into all your resources and you have given it the chemical or herbal medicine, whatever you felt was in your best ability to offer to your friend, yes? After you've done all that, the most loving thing that you can do is let go and allow the animal to take the path that is in highest alignment with their higher self. Do you not believe they are guided like every single one of you is?
Yeah, so I should believe that they choose to be with me when they want to be with me, and they choose to go when they want to go.
There's no should, but you are definitely most welcome to believe that. How does that feel to believe that?
A little bit better.
Okay, so that's you using your emotional guiding compass to tell you your preferred truth. You see?
Still, it's so difficult when I hold them in my arms when they're dying.
We understand, but the difficulty is a result of some aspect of the rational mind judging the circumstances.
Okay. So you're saying...
You're creating the resistance yourself.
Yeah, by thinking, for instance, when I could have done this, perhaps they would still allow.
Yes.
Or I should have done that.
Yes.
And then, so I should...
You make it very heavy on yourself. And from that heavy energy frequency, it will also be harder to receive the information that your guides and the higher self of the animals are sending you to let you know what might work in their benefit. Because you're busy feeling guilty.
Yes.
No offense.
No, I can see that.
There is only divine timing. And what you call the moment of passing over really, really only happens when a certain theme has played through. Now, obviously, we are all for offering particularly animals that are depending on you. Offering them the best possible care. The most heart-based and equal relationship that you actually really well know how to build, and that you can inspire other human beings to discover within their own lives with their animals, or let's put it more YahYel, with the animals that they choose to co-create with. You see, because you co-create a reality of existing together, of breathing together, being together. You choose that. And though we understand that in your society there is a high degree of codependency active in that, and a high degree of cultural beliefs that make some animals lovable on some parts of your planet and not so lovable on others, something that astonishes us. But when you come more into your heart, also as human beings amongst each other, it will be a natural side effect that you will begin to see this in animals and feel that towards animals as well. Your empathy, you could say, bandwidth will only broaden. And the animals, in fact, are reflecting that back to you, that you are actually in a really exciting transitional phase on your earth today. And isn't it fun that we get to loop right back to another biblical segment? Are you familiar with the phrase that in those days the lion will lay with the lamb? Familiar with this? As an announcement for an era of peace that is upon you. Now, that metaphor wasn't accidentally chosen. And in our world, animals do not prey each other. You could say that in your world, you're beginning to see the first reflections, the first glimpses of that same kind of balanced interspecies type of contact occur more and more often. And your internet is quite an important and helpful tool in bringing these images and videos all over your globe, where a cat is raising little ducklings, where a goat and a lion share the same territory,
where a swan is putting his foot in the water for feeding the fish.
Exactly.
It's so funny. Animals have so new relationships.
And so do you. And that is exactly what they're reflecting back to you. And you have decided for your own higher purposes, so to speak, subconscious or conscious, doesn't matter, or in between. You have chosen to work with these very neatly polished mirrors in your journey on this earth at this moment in your life. And what they're mirroring back to you, what you're bringing up, is you love to work with them, but this particular part of them transitioning pains you. And you say, how can I help them? We say, help yourself by rewriting the definitions that make you feel the pain to begin with. Come from a place of love and trust. Trust in something, in a belief system that works for you instead of against you. You see? And then you will be there for them, much more wholly, even if they choose to transit to that next chapter of their lives. There is no end to life, you know. Even if they choose to transit to that next chapter of their lives in your arms. Okay, so aren't they blessed to be with a person that is there with them wholeheartedly?
I know. Sometimes I have the idea that it's like their purpose in life to die in my arms, to feel the love.
And in some cases, you were right. Mm-hmm. Because that is exactly the mirror you asked for to heal your heart.
Thank you.
And they gave that to you. Mm-hmm. Unconditionally loving gave that to you.
I know that.
Does that help?
Yeah, thank you. I do have another question.
Okay.
It's a more difficult question. Also related to the animals and the government. Since I do not have dogs and cats, I have farm animals. I learned to know a lot about how the animals are kept for producing meat. It's not nice to know that. And since I have sheep, there's a registration and identification protocol.
Okay.
Should you follow here in Holland. And the rules are sharpened, especially since we now have the European Union. The laws about protecting animals are conflicting. They're conflicting parts in the law. On one hand, the law says you should not harm an animal. Another part of the law says, well, you should put ear tags in the ears, or a chip in his body, or a stomach bolus in its stomach.
Yes.
And they also, if you breed sheep, for instance, and you have little sheep,
lambs,
you should follow the law and put the ear tag in the ear. I cannot do that. From animals I learned to be authentic, to be in line with myself.
Thank you.
The law is not authentic, it's contradictory to itself.
We understand. So how do you wish to change it? What lies within your ability to create, as a pioneer in your own field, a new example that the law eventually can choose to follow by, instead of you feeling forced to follow a law that doesn't resonate? How else do you think laws will change than by people initiating the change? Because that is the most effective way we see in your age today. And so one person can begin to explain this very detailed and exact, as you just did, and share that with a multitude of people on the world and initiate a new movement where you tag another way by letting them wear, for instance, a necklace with a number. Find a middle way that feels good to you. And introduce that as an option, as a possibility. And you will be the change that you wish to see in the world.
So you mean I should be the mirror?
Yes. The animals
like
have
artists putting big labels in a landscape, like labeling.
For instance,
For attracting.
haven't the animals unconditionally loving mirrored back to you what you needed to see? And that is exactly what they taught you to do. So now you can become a beautifully fine polished mirror to people around you.
Okay, so I should
play with it.
Yeah.
Don't buy into the intimidation. There is always a middle way for those who have the heart and the guts to be creative what is presented to them. It is not the circumstances that matter. It is the state of being that you choose to respond to the circumstances in.
So always stay emotionally balanced if there's a situation, for instance.
No.
No?
Because if you feel sadness, you feel it for a reason. And the reason wants to be looked at. There is no such a rigid order that you will ever hear us give you. Always stay emotionally balanced. No. Love the fact that your emotionally guided compass flips from north to south to west to east, so that you can get to know yourself better by it. Continue to tune in with yourself and fine-tune and rewrite and rewrite and rewrite yet again whatever belief system you're choosing to adopt for yourself and your reality. Whatever works best for you in that here and now. Everything is fluid, everything is ever-changing. So why not love that continuing evolution within yourself and not look with resistance at the idea of change, which is also what was being reflected back to you by the animals transiting. Change is okay. Sometimes there is suffering involved, suffering in any type of degree, and you do not have to judge it. You can take the circumstances as they are. You can take the critical mind as it comes to you, with the criticism that it has. Say thank you to it, love it, and let it be on its merry way. And you do with the information whatever resonates most as a truth for you in your reality. And thus you will become again the change you wish to see. And the polarity and the contrast and the friction between the opposing halves that were formerly there, so strongly felt in your heart, won't hurt you anymore, but can be looked at as a fun challenge, an exciting adventure.
Become the change you want to be. So even if my animals are in an area where there's lots of tourists and people passing by, so even if someone calls the animal police, because they do not have ear tags in their ear.
What an exciting opportunity!
Okay.
To not just let the police show up, but also some newspaper men.
Okay.
And give your first interview.
Okay.
Stand up, speak, shine your truth forward, darling.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and become a channel for the animals.
Okay, thank you.
We love you so much, and thank you.